Hi, this is Jay Ossing from Twin Peaks: The Return. You're listening to Inspirado Projecto.
All right. Do you want a microphone, or how do you feel about just talking? What are your thoughts?
I can just talk. What
are your thoughts?
I don't mind. I can do the mic. There's no one here.
There you go. Yeah, let's have the voice of God. Let's have the voice of God go.
Okay.
All right, very good. So I thought that movie was really, really cool.
Thank you.
I love how all of a sudden it turns into this awesome supernatural thing.
Yeah.
And it's great how, there he is, just like this guy getting into trouble, and in the midst of it all of a sudden he has this huge spiritual experience.
That's right, yeah.
And where'd you get the inspiration for that?
So I was just the producer, but Remy, the writer, director, he said he wanted to make it because with many of his friends, or with one friend in particular, being of the Caribbean diaspora, which I can relate to because my parents are Jamaican, we never get taught our history. So our history starts with, well, you guys are slaves in the Caribbean, and that's all we know. And he would, for a friend of his, he wanted to help him understand that he comes from something more than just that. Your history doesn't start with the curriculum at school, the Second World War. There's more to it. There's more to you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what inspired him, basically.
And did that story speak to you?
It does, yeah, because I can relate. We're from England, but we're not included in what's taught at history, even though it is British history as well, what happened in the Caribbean. And so I could 100% relate to where he was coming from.
It is interesting when we keep tracing the lineage back and back and back and back. We are so much more than whatever this just thing is right here. Absolutely. There's all the DNA, there's all the experiences that our relatives had, which is then passed on, all their thoughts and their feelings and all that stuff goes all the way down the line.
Yeah, definitely.
So you helped produce that. As you talked earlier today, you were in the midst of you had one movie that you were still working on, and then someone came across you and said, hey, well, I want you to help me out with this one.
I'm just finishing one. Actually, it's just via in post. We're about to finish it in the next couple of weeks. That one is a little bit political because it's a remake of a story called The Overcoat, a Ukrainian story, but we made a bit of a tribute to Oleg Sentsov, the Ukrainian filmmaker. He was in jail, but he just got released in Russia last week. So that was a bit, I'm not sure if I want Putin to see my name on that one.
Well, you never know where the inspiration is going to take you.
Hate
and plus, there's so many stories that are just untold.
Yeah.
And nobody knows about them until you do tell those stories.
Absolutely, and a lot of people can relate. So, me like you, I'm sure that people who aren't just of Black British origin can get what's being said and can relate to the story. It's not just particular to us from the Caribbean or whatever.
Well, I think anyone who approaches it from a perspective of a being that's outside of just inside this this skin-filled petri dish, when you look at it from that perspective, you're going to get a lot more out of it, I think.
Yeah, 100%, definitely.
Thank you so much for submitting your films, and it's just really cool that you came out to be a part of this thing. What drew you to this film festival, by the way?
I met Shada in Cannes, and she was like, oh, can you submit your films? And I was like, okay, that was it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Do we have any other filmmakers up there who did any of the films up there? No? You just all here from moral support? I appreciate that. Well, thank you so much. And I'll set up the lights here if you want to take any photos. You want to take any photos? Yeah? Very good, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Down, they get that paralysis of analysis. It's got to be perfect, but man, when you follow the process, you have no idea where it's going to lead you. Okay, so when you met William Shatner, were you the one that came up with the idea for the Priceline campaign?
No, an ad agency did, and I had already done some previous work with him, and they said, why don't you work with William Shatner? And so I said, okay, what's the premise? And they said, well, VH1 Unplugged. We come into a nightclub. There's an Uber band playing on stage, and William Shatner is like doing these silly songs and in his spoken word. And they played me some of his earlier albums, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds and all that stuff. And I said, I totally get it. So
that's incredible.
I did all the arrangements, and we picked out all these silly songs like Bust a Move and all that. And then I was assigned as William Shatner's vocal coach, which is a joke unto itself.
Incredible.
And finally I got him on the phone, and I said, look, I want to make sure the music is in the right key, and if I could just work on the phone. He goes, it doesn't matter because I can't sing. And so one thing led to another. It was a hit, and they renewed the campaign. We did 20 commercials in 2 years, and from that point on, I've been working with him.
What I think is so beautiful about it is that it's so absurd, so unapologetically absurd. There's no irony in what he's doing. It doesn't seem like he's even, because sometimes you could see something and there's that self-awareness in people. It seems like he's just so right into it.
Well, his whole thing is he learned he said he couldn't sing, but he could do spoken word. And if he could do the lyrics in a Shakespearean read, that would suffice.
Did you say a Shakespearean read?
Yes. Yeah, he was a Shakespearean trained actor.
I never knew that.
Oh yeah, he comes from Canada. He's a serious actor. If you look up, what is it? God, there was a great movie, The Nuremberg Trials. William Shatner plays a serious, great actor.
Oh wow,
goes way back.
Wow. So what kind of Shakespeare plays did he do?
I don't know. He was Shakespearean trained in drama school and all that, but don't discount Twilight Zone.
Oh, yes,
That famous episode.
Oh, yes.
Where he's on the plane.
Well, yes, and he was also in the episode where it was like those strange little fortunes that would pop up, and he and his girlfriend were just there because she would ask a question, and then they'd put another dime in it or whatever, and it would pop up with this thing. Do you remember that one?
I vaguely remember it. I just remember the one where he's on the airplane. He sees a monster out the window.
With the crazy gremlin guy.
Yeah.
And it was crazy, too, because Leonard Nimoy was in a Twilight Zone episode.
A lot of them were. Yeah.
It's so cool how a lot of those guys got their career on there.
Well, I've learned a lot from Bill, and I'm still learning. He's 88 years old, and he's exhausting to be around.
Does he just have a lot of energy?
He has a lot of energy, and he's an equestrian. He competes in horse competitions. He just won first place a couple months ago, and yeah, he's unbelievable.
It's incredible when you hear about this information about, like when you hear about, does he paint? Does he paint too? I somehow get this, because a lot of these guys...
His wife paints, but no, he's a reader, meaning he reads a lot, and he's a writer, producer, director, and our company, we're developing all kinds of projects right now.
I love the fact that he's just a go-getter. It sounds like he's just willing to riff ideas with you and go, okay, well, let's see, where can this thing go?
Oh, yeah, he's a go-getter.
How many? What are your brainstorm sessions like with him?
Pretty crazy, because he's so well-read. You can talk about any subject, and he'll just go off on a subject. So I really can't talk about what we're developing right now, but it's a combination of comedy and drama and history and pathos and philosophy. I mean, you're dealing with a Renaissance mentality.
Well, you're a Renaissance man yourself, from what you've been telling me, or at least that's the way I would describe you. Have you done any acting?
No acting at all.
So you've mostly done a lot of music. What were some of the original instruments you started on?
Oh, trumpet, classical trumpet, guitar, keyboards.
And then did you just start, like for instance, do you have some secret albums in the archives that no one's heard?
No, I was in a group for a while, but we never got a record deal. So,
what was the name of your group?
Stuart Little Band.
That's great. So you guys made some songs, but you didn't put any. Did you play places?
We were a live act. We were in San Francisco. We were a San Francisco band, and we opened for everybody at that time.
Who were some of the really nice musicians that you opened for that you got a really good kick out of?
Van Morrison, Santana, Chicago, David Bowie, Sarah Vaughan, Dizzy Gillespie.
What?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. This back in the 70s.
So were a lot of these guys, people that you were already inspired by, and you had heard, and you go, oh my gosh, we're sharing the same bill with these guys?
Yeah. It was that was a really special time during the 70s, late 60s.
So you were saying earlier that you, you also like to spin a lot of plates. I like to spin a lot of plates and try to keep my sanity intact in the process.
Yes. The idea is to spin as many plates as you can and don't crash.
That's right.
And get your sleep. Eventually you're going to need to get your sleep. So.
Well, what's fun is once the plate starts spinning, all it takes is just a little nudge every once in a while then, right?
That's right.
Because it's got its own momentum.
That's right. And I just highly recommend don't get stuck in a day gig. Just work night and day as long as you can, and then something's going to kick in.
So, sometimes parents, they want to tell their kids, oh, go be a lawyer, go be a doctor, don't be an artist, don't be a musician. Oh, that's so tough, that's so difficult. What was it like for you with your upbringing?
I was brought up in music, so I went to a conservatory of music, and then about halfway through I realized I wanted to be a professional musician, but the conservatory wasn't training me to be a professional musician, and there were no courses or curriculums to guide me, so I just got asked to join a band, and I left, and the rest is history.
It's incredible. So since you were a little kid, you were always just into it, huh?
Yes. Yeah. Always.
Wow. Okay, thank you so much. This has been so cool. Scott Liggett? Liggett. Scott Liggett. Thank you so much. This has been so cool. Thanks for being on Inspirado Projecto. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
How you guys doing?
Hello.
I'm Penny.
Hi.
Was it Chris?
I'm Kurt.
Maybe?
Nice to meet you.
I spoke to Chris earlier. You said we should sign up for a podcast slot.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Here, take one. So that was amazing, huh? Are any of the filmmakers here in the audience? Any of the actors or any of the folks? Yeah, come on down. I'm going to ask you guys some questions. I'll let you guys pass around the... Oh, here, actually, you can use this one. There we go.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
So, that was really, really cool. Where was that shot?
It was shot in North Carolina, mostly in Charlotte and was it Wilmington? Yeah, Wilmington. And we actually shot during when the hurricane hit Wilmington last year, and so we literally had to take a break in the middle of filming because it was raining so hard. And the place where I was staying in Charlotte had a little creek in the backyard, and every day I would get up and I look back there and make sure it wasn't about to flood the house, because the water was it was like an itty bitty creek, but it was 4 feet high, just rushing water every day. And then we were supposed to film in Wilmington. We had to take a break because the hurricane was hitting Wilmington, and then we went out there to film finally, and it was a mess because there was just everything stunk and there was just debris everywhere.
So hold on, did you put? Are you the director? Did you write this? I know I saw you act in it.
Pat's, we're all actors, but Pat is who's played the main character, the Irish guy, Terry. Yeah. Terry Lockerian, he's the director. But he's in North Carolina, so he wasn't able to make it.
I thought the acting was great. Everybody was committed to their characters. I thought it was phenomenal.
Thank you. I'll let one of these other actors talk. But
yes, go ahead and introduce yourself, actually.
Yeah, I'm Josh Murray. I played the Dark Stranger.
Awesome.
My name is Jason Wesley. I played Hernandez.
My name is Ezekiel Ajabi, and I played Lamar Boyd.
Very good. How did you guys hear about this? How did you come across it?
The casting?
Yeah.
My agent. And some of us, the film community in Charlotte is pretty small. And so, Pat knew a lot of different people in the industry and, kind of organized things that way. I'm not quite sure how you guys came.
I was walking down the road and this guy was in the alley and he's like, "Psst, I've got a job for you."
Happens to the best of us.
No, actually, it's interesting. Pat and I did a film years ago together and we were acting in, and he really liked working with me as I did him, and there were some unfortunate things that happened with the film and it never came out, and it was very depressing. But a couple years later, he hit me up and he said, I'm writing this pilot, I'm producing my first project, and he was like, there's this bad guy I'm writing, and he's like, I just keep thinking about you when I'm writing it. And I was like, will you read the script? And I read it, and I was like, yeah, I have to play him. So
It's cool. I like how it ends on a cliffhanger. Like, you don't know what the heck's going to happen next. And what's so awesome, too, is that there's, the phrase showing without telling. There's a lot of showing without telling. So it leaves a lot of question marks in your brain.
I just have to comment on that. He's already started writing the series. He's already got other episodes, and this pilot he's trying to get support and interest from people to try to build the groundswell to make the series. And I've read some of the other episodes, and everything in this pilot is intentional and significant, down to the posters on the wall and the little random person you see walking by in the street. Like, everyone's connected, everyone has a purpose, and it all gets tied in more and more. So this episode just sets everything up, and then it gets more interesting.
That's the best, when you leave little Easter eggs in there, right? And then, because then as you get later on down in there, you go, wait a second, did I? And then you rewatch it, you go, oh, wait a second, they were leaving that little breadcrumb so long ago, and now here we see them.
Yeah, Pat connects everything, and for what he was able to do this for, I think the budget was about 50. And so we were able to get everything done, which, very, very high quality.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Because there are all so many settings. And,
so many settings, so many places, so many actors. Episode 2's really, everything that you question in episode 1, like, episode 2 is actually really good. Episode 3, every single one gets better and better, and it's kind of like a lot of really good series that are like one of my favorite is The Blacklist, where you learn something every single episode, but it ties back to other episodes. Pat has worked really, really hard on this. As a matter of fact, the tattoo that he has on his back, his daughter drew.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
The Tree of Life, that was great.
Yes, and also he designed that last door that locked open is the bookshelf that moved. He actually designed that and built that himself as well. I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing.
It's cool. I liked how it intercutted, like with the guys getting into the car, and it would cut to the one guy going with turning on the radio, but then it would cut to the other dude in the car, and you're thinking, okay, something's going to happen here. And what I thought was cool is that you didn't see the accident; you only saw the aftermath of the accident. You saw before and after.
Yeah. They basically said everything about the project and how great Pat is and everything, but I don't know if I can say this.
I don't know if I can say anything.
But, so, there's a missing scene in this. Y'all, of course, wouldn't know that because you don't have the script. But anyways, so my character, I was supposed to play football, right? Yeah, I was supposed to play football because I say, if you remember in the diner scene, I say I got to get to my game. I was on my way to my football game, but because of the hurricane, the stadium that we had set, everything was set back for like 2 days or whatever, and then the day we were supposed to film there, the person who owned the stadium kind of like backed out at the last minute, so we couldn't shoot any of that stuff. So yeah.
You could have totally just completely invented a scene, that nobody would have any sort of, no one would have been able to say, well, you're lying, You're gonna be like, oh yeah, well, there's a superhero that falls from the sky, and he grants him this magic amulet. You could have made up something. So how do we know that's real?
You will see it in episode 2.
I love it.
Yeah, there you
that's
go.
great.
There you go.
So you're the guy who was stealing this stuff, right?
Yeah. See, I was the guy stealing stuff.
I thought it was so great. Those were great scenes, right? They think they think you're like this hero. You're coming up there. You're going, oh yeah, I got your wallet, and then it makes me think, oh cool. What's the rest of the path with that guy? Yeah. Is he? What are the interactions like with those other people?
So I can't tell you much, but like I said, you'll see more as the series goes on. Like he said, everything's interconnected. Everybody in the story is an actual puzzle piece of the entire story. It's crazy. So the more we do more episodes and everything like that, the more you'll find out and learn.
Yeah, and you obviously get the picture of this chess match between my character and Terry's character. And all of those pieces that are interconnected, like it's like they're playing dominoes like with each other, and like they're trying to tip things this way, and the other person's trying to tip them that way, and that this whole world is like just a constant little like pinball game of like popping things in different directions. So that starts to come.
Well, and then you wonder what's the deal with that guy, because he gets shot in the head, And then there he just is, so you're wondering what's going on with that guy, and then you're wondering what the heck is what are you up to? What's your character up to, and all the nefarious activities? What's the job he wants for you? I mean, there's so many questions, and it's great because it makes you, to leave that cliffhanger, it makes you wonder. I gotta tune into the rest of these.
Yeah, and I love that Pat really took a naturalistic approach to how he starts it. That it just kind of, at the beginning, it could be any simple, contemporary drama, and at the end, we start to realize like there's something more going than just natural. And then in the second episode, it just builds from there. So it really starts that you just kind of keep going like, well, oh wow, this is getting like weirder and weirder kind of thing. So it really starts to amp up, and I think I hope he can get to do the rest of it soon.
Yeah. Whenever he and I were on phone calls and texts before we ever started filming, and one of the things I told him after reading the first 2 episodes, I said, Pat, I gotta say this is an expensive show, just so you know. He goes, oh yeah, I know. And so to be able to do the series, what it really needs, it needs a lot more money to be able to make it. Some of the scenes that he has written, but the way that he was able to shoot and be able to get the idea across, and that's kind of like what you were alluding to earlier, of what happened. Basically taking a scene that might cost $10,000 and making it $500 or $1,000 or whatever. Just what he was able to do with the story, and he was like, yeah, I know. And the crazy thing also is that he created that character years ago for something else, and I think he's only been acting maybe 6 or 7 years.
You guys interacted with each other great. I mean, it was a great ensemble.
Yeah, you're right. 6, 7 years.
Yeah, it's like 6 or 7 years that he's only been acting, and he wrote this, produced this, directed this, and so
it's really cool. I liked how he walked into the bookstore. They got, I almost felt like the guy who said, "Oh no, the owner's not here." I thought maybe he was the owner at first, and then I wondered, okay, what kind of information did he discover on the internet about this gold coin, and why did he seem so scared? It's like he seemed scared. Like, okay, I got to give this back to this guy. I'm out of here. And then you're wondering, why didn't he say anything to I'll just call him like the vampire guy, to Terry. Why didn't he say something to him about that specific coin? Why didn't he say but then again, maybe Terry knew exactly who the guy was. So
well, they held on the screen just a little bit, and it was talking about the Pirate's Peril coin, that it was cursed by Satan himself.
Oh.
And so he's like, cool. I want to get this out of here. Here, you take this. No, I don't want anything for it. And so he really wanted to get rid of it. And unfortunately, it had detrimental circumstances that happened later.
Well, this is so cool. Thank you guys so much for coming out. And thank all you guys for supporting these guys. Because it takes a lot of guts to make a movie. And it's a big deal to have people there to encourage you. So I'm going to set up some lights in case you guys want to take any photos over here.
Cool.
All right? Thank you guys so much for coming out to KaPow and being a part of this. Holy cow. Any of the filmmakers here and or actors? You see an actor right there. Why don't you guys come on up here? I'm going to ask you guys some questions. There's an intense block. That was intense. Go ahead and grab that. If you could stand on the end there, I'm going to have you pass that around to these fellas. Holy cow. Okay, sir, go ahead and introduce to us your name and what project you worked on.
Frank Moeller. I was the producer and editor on Breaking News.
Hi, Barrett Gregory, actor in Breaking News.
Hi, John Proctor, and I was writer and producer for Faith Ties.
Ariel Leona, actor for Breaking News.
Okay, so why don't you start, Miss? Why don't you start? So how did you come across these guys?
Well, I went to the same university as Frank and Barrett, so pretty much that.
I think it's one of the great spectacular things. You form these relationships, you form your tribe. A lot of times in college, and I think what's exciting is that when you stick together, you have no idea what kind of magic you can create later on.
absolutely. I didn't go the same time as these guys though, so it was pretty cool because when I moved to Los Angeles, we have like a really great alumni system.
It's beautiful because you know you had a family when you arrived,
Yeah,
right? You know
absolutely.
that you tap into that, and it's a shortcut. It's a shortcut right there. You know you already got that rapport because you went through that boot camp, so to speak.
So to speak.
Yeah. So what kind of other projects are you currently working on?
Currently, I do a few projects with my friends. Nothing that is in the works as far as other film festivals, except for this one, of course. But that's about it. Yeah, nothing at the moment. Just plugging along.
Very good. Why don't you pass it on to that gentleman? Now, sir, how long did it take for you to shoot that film?
We actually shot that in one night, but then of course the editing and all the other stuff that went with it, took us a couple of weeks to do.
You know what I find it interesting about each of these projects is that they really utilized a limited amount of space. You know, even in that German one, it was really basically that barn and maybe outside. You know, you guys at Breaking News, bam, right there in the house. You were outside. Did you have to get permits for that?
We should have gotten permits, but no, we did not.
This is another one of those success stories where guerrilla filmmaking gets, you know, it works, it's magic.
No, we had a really great art director who dressed the set, and if you would see the parking lot where we shot that, it was actually very pristine, and so they dressed it up to look that way, and we kept it in one small corner of the parking lot, and so that's all just one parking lot in a little section of it that they dressed to look.
That is incredible. Yeah. It doesn't look like it's in a parking lot.
Yeah.
That's movie magic right there.
Yeah.
Now, you were also the writer of that?
Yes.
And where did you get that inspiration?
So the main inspiration for that came from my love of a film. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of it. It's called It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes.
And so I grew up watching that film every year. And so I was inspired by that, but I just really wanted to be able to tell a story that had that kind of feel to it. But during the time that was made, of course, black actors weren't utilized in Hollywood in that way. So I wanted to kind of tell something that had that feel, but also had an African American cast being able to tell the story.
So would you say the angel got his wings?
The angel gets his wings.
I love it.
Yeah.
I like how it's mysterious because you're wondering, who is that guy? Is he who he says he is? And then he goes, well, that's the angel guy who lives down the way. And you're going, well, maybe that's the guy. You know, so you kind of put these little question marks in the audience's brain, which is awesome.
Absolutely, that's what we wanted to do, yes.
I like that. That's pure showing without telling. I think that's great. Could you pass the microphone on to this gentleman? You did a great job as the newscaster.
Oh, thank you very much.
Returning champion. It's great to see you acting again.
Yes, thank you.
Last time we saw you, you directed a project.
Yeah, I was years ago.
Jeff Fine Lady appeared in.
Yes, she produced as well. Yeah.
So that was part of a 48-hour film festival.
Yes, I can have Frank speak more to that. That was a 40. Frank, you go ahead and say it.
He's the guy.
My filmmaking partner and I, who couldn't be here because he was working, we've been doing the 48-hour film project for the past 16 years. This was
wow.
We have retired. Who knows if we'll go back to it or not? But this was the last one we did, and so yeah, the entire thing was conceived of, written, shot, and edited in 48 hours. This is a slightly cleaned up version than what was done at 48 hours, but still, probably 30 or 52 hours or something. Just a little bit of tweaking here and there.
Incredible. So how does it actually start? I mean, what time do you show up in the morning? Like 4 a.m. and like, okay, go ahead and start making something.
So the process is at 7 o'clock on Friday night, everyone convenes and draws genres out of the hat. We drew Generation Gap, which may not be obvious from it, but and then we have our team of writers and some key production people like all assembled, and they start plugging away at it. And then the next morning we start shooting, and because of certain limitations with there were some things that happened on that in the middle of the night on that one, so we had to do some quick casting, like recasting changes, and we wrapped by I think 4 o'clock because I think you had to get to work. And and then I edited overnight, and we tweaked, and our amazing composer wrote the music like a couple of hours at the end, and turned it in at 7 o'clock on Sunday night.
And this is at the film festival, if I'm understanding this correctly. It's like a film festival? Or is this just like a challenge?
It's a film project. Like all of them do end up screening. Have they like if you get it turned in, they get to screen. So it's a festival in that way, but it is mostly just a challenge.
So you're saying you had to recast? I mean, are you like wandering around this space looking for? Oh, you're an actor, right?
Well, no, we had our team already built, and one of our actresses had to drop out at the last minute.
What did you do?
We elevated Ariel from being on the news team to being the mother, the wife in this situation.
So okay, so I'm trying to understand. So I'm just trying to picture it in my brain. Like, were you at the same thing that he's talking about here, the 48-hour thing? How'd you find her? I mean, how did that happen? I know you went to school.
So we all put our teams together ahead of time. And the majority of our team was either back at our director's house waiting to write the script, or on call at their own homes.
Okay.
So once we draw our genres, we all disperse from the kickoff area, and then do our own things. And so at midnight, one of our actresses had to drop out, knowing that Ariel had a work conflict. She was going to have a smaller role, and then we were like, well, Ariel's going to be the wife now, and
I love that flexibility. Yeah. I love that flexibility because you really got to trust each other to go, okay, well, we got to create this thing, and here's what we're going to do.
Yeah, it's a creative challenge,
for
sure.
What I want to know is, okay, so, because the color correction looked really good. I mean, and then we see the footage of you on the television. So, so you just had an editor just right there, like doing? Oh, so you edited it?
I produced and edited. So I didn't sleep for the most part.
So you edited while you were asleep, basically, right?
Yeah.
Like, so basically, so you use the computer graphics just within that 48 hours to emblazon him on the screen?
One of our writers who actually lives in Ohio is a comic book artist. So he did some of the like lower third graphics and stuff. And honestly, that's one of the things that we tweaked up a little bit after the 48-hour process. We made his bit look a little bit better, but it's still pretty good.
Gotcha. Well, I liked how it was like it leaves this question mark in your brain, and it's never told. You're just kind of going, here you go, audience. We're going to go ahead and let you just think about that, and we'll let you kind of figure out what may or may not be going on.
That was kind of the hope, and honestly, from the scripting through even like the screening at 48, we got a number of different responses as to what they thought had happened. People thought that she was the shooter. People thought that she had gone in to save the school. There was like a number of different responses. Like obviously, I know what I think happened. But,
yeah.
But we liked the idea that like people could bring their own feelings towards gun violence or school shooting, that sort of thing, to it, or just their own interpretation to it.
Well, it's cool, just like with Faith Ties, it was one of those kinds of things, slightly a Twilight Zone episode of sorts, where there's that little twist ending, and you're not giving really an answer though to it. Like the ending of yours, it reminded me of like this one Black Mirror episode that I saw, where you don't know who shot who or what was going on, and I think that's what I appreciate. And I love seeing all the various interpretations of how they want to create their films, and it must be exciting to be able to see it up on a big screen when you're so used to seeing it on a little tiny laptop, or who knows where. Is this your first screening?
For us, we premiered at the we screened an early cut at 48.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But then,
that's right.
We were in the Pasadena International Film Festival back in March, but this is the second screening past that.
Now, are we going to have a sequel to Faith Ties, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah,
oh yeah, if you can hand it.
Yeah, that actually is just 5 minutes of a feature-length script.
Ah.
We shot that as a proof of concept, so we're looking to get the budget to shoot the rest of the film. But so that's just a snippet. Yeah.
That's cool. I can imagine there's probably a whole journey there with the homeless guy that we didn't even see.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you so much for commingling with each other and being a part of this whole shenanigan. Thank you for being a part of this. Barrett, real quick, do you have any projects coming up?
Nothing in production, but I'm always working on things, pre-production writing, a couple things, and probably gonna loop in as many of people as I can.
Very good. Well, thank you guys so much.
So next year you'll see stuff.
Good. And also, I'll set up the lights over here in case you want to take some photos before the next block begins. Thank you, guys.
Where is the power for this? Oh, it's right here.
We're going to do a Q&A if you guys are okay with that.
Sure.
I saw just a whole gang of you guys walking in. Is every person in the audience part of this movie? Why don't you come on up here? We're going to do a Q&A with you guys. And you get to pass around the wireless mic too.
Okay.
Yeah, come on down.
Were you doing promo of that film?
Oh, that's my clone. We figured out how to clone me in a basement somewhere. So, wow, man. You know, you guys are after my own heart. I'm a huge fan of experimentation.
Yep.
And the fact that you keep throwing the red cola in there, you know, and I saw all you guys with the, or red soda. How did you guys afford ILM to do those amazing CGI effects?
Yes. They did it on a lunch break.
It's just on a lunch break.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right, that's all. Thank you guys for coming out. You know, I thought it was amazing how it was so, we were just up there talking about, like, this is so convolutedly awesome because there's just so much philosophy going on in there. And, you know, sometimes I was like, okay, this is like modern day Shakespeare because we got this philosophy happening in there.
Right.
And then we got, you know, these people who are they imaginary or are they real? Are they just from another dimension?
Right.
And then you got all this great foreshadowing that just loops right back around. How long did it take for you to make this thing?
We,
Month and a half? About?
How much?
About like a month and a half? Six
Yeah,
weeks?
yeah. This is in the last year we have now done 3 features and a short. Yeah, we're like a shark.
So
We
you're
just keep
very
moving.
prolific.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Where do you guys live?
Seattle area.
Seattle area.
Yeah. No, this one. The script probably was in process in dribs and drabs for about 6 months, but then.
I like your vocabulary, by the way.
Thank you.
Dribs and drabs.
Yeah, and then once it was tightened up, we started filming, and everyone we kind of fall into a let's get it done. We all work for a living in various jobs, so it is rather than playing fantasy football or going off and doing something, it's, hey, let's make a movie.
Why not become the media?
Yeah, no,
right?
Exactly. And I mean, it's fantastic that what you're capable of with digital, but having really, really talented friends and the willingness to put in the time, it's fantastic.
Well, having a talented person to write the script. He writes it specifically, like, not even knowing who he's putting in mind, but like, I know that with the last film that I was in, you had it perfectly to me exactly who I was supposed to be and what I was like, mindset was at the time. You write characters specifically for us, and you do such a good job of saying, wow, this is exactly why he's going to be good, this is exactly why he's going to be good. So, I mean, it's really all credit to him.
So real quick, hold on a second. Let me just let you guys spread out so these fine people can see all your faces.
Yeah. So
okay, so you write the characters specifically for these guys because you know that they can pull off these characters.
And that's the script. This is our 4th feature, and this one was probably the where it really kind of opened up, and that was having the confidence of, wow, everyone can do just about anything. So why not go with it?
Well, especially when you got masks, because then you can have anybody be any mask at any time. It's like, oh, Joe can't show up today. Mike, you ready to be in the mask today?
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that is true. There's the one that we just completed has a lot about masks and.
I'm a huge fan of masks.
Yeah,
I got some in my backpack out there actually.
Yeah, and just to totally be a geek for a moment. The name Fripp ties in one of the other ways you can look at it. The character Blank Frank, there's a Brian Eno song called Blank Frank.
Ooh.
And you can follow that character as an idea of a conceptual Brian Eno showing up in someone's life and sort of being cryptic and pushing them further into what they think they probably need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, there's multiple versions, and I like the idea that you can watch the film on a simple get drunk with your friends and have laughs, or if you want to look a little deeper, there's some tidbits under there.
Yeah, Ellen Watts would get a big kick out of it.
Lord knows we were getting drunk making it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where a lot of the budget is.
I was just gonna say, it seems like a lot of the budget went to that.
Yes.
Rainier.
Yeah,
This
Rainier.
guy, this fellow in the Hawaiian shirt, I kept thinking, someone just woke him up to do his parts.
Yeah.
Every scene, he was like,
Oh.
is anyone seeing this thing?
Yeah, well, he was
It's
just shot in
good.
the head, so.
There you go.
You see, we all had the red soda.
I saw that when you walked
all
in.
the movies that got tie-in.
I love
all
it.
the films.
That's the thing, and I was wondering, I saw like phone numbers on the refrigerator. If I were to call those, would those lead somewhere?
One was me, one was him, and then that was Bill's cell phone.
Yeah,
So yeah, like
Yeah.
built it up.
Yeah, that was my kitchen, and it shows my attention to detail that I did not take that off the
And it's perfect when it gets distributed. You got your psychotic fans who are going to be giving you calls. You get the heavy breathing at night.
Yes, I'm a little wary of where that's going to end up, but that'll be something that maybe I can figure out how to digitally blur.
Well, it's all part of the charm. It's all part of the charm.
Yeah.
Can you pass it down to this fellow, please? Because we have like 10 minutes here. They told me to crunch it, and I'm famous for doing like half an hour Q&As. So we'll talk a
I'll
lot
be
more about this
real
later.
brief. This is Father Max. Caller 4 over here. What is your question this afternoon?
Okay, let's pass it on.
Thank you for blessing us, Father.
Yes. Oh, this.
You're not going to piss all over the seats here, are you?
I relieve myself before the movie.
Well, that's good. I'm so glad we invited the voice of God to this. There it is. There it is.
Oh no.
Zodiac doesn't have anything else to say.
Yes.
But I like that one. All I know is I am a cop. I'm a cop. I'm a cop.
You're the one with the curly hair, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a wig that was supposed to be for Mexican drug cartels, as it said, the Oktoberfest, but in one of the magazines, they just thought I was a drag the entire time. So I was like, the magazine was like, yeah, you're just running around a drag the entire time. I'm like, oh, I was dressed up in lederhosen.
Yeah, well, maybe there's a side story that you're in a reggae band or something.
Probably. No, I just want to say thank you, Bill. This has been an honor to work with him as long as I have. Sitting on his front lawn, drinking beer, filming the short called White Van. We've come a long way, and we still have more material coming out, which hopefully, we can get some more, credibility. But this has been fun. LA's cool. I'm having a blast.
Is this your first time out here?
Yes, it is.
For your Holly Weird experience?
No, I love it.
You brought the weird to Holly Weird, so thank you for blessing us with that.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. Are you wearing a red soda shirt as well?
No.
That's fine. That's fine. Can you pass it on to this guy, please? Now, what was your? Were you the guy at the end who was in the?
Oh, I was Blank Frank. I'm the.
Oh, you were Blank Frank. I love it.
Absolutely.
That's right. The
I
astronaut.
just want to let everybody know, whatever you do never drink a lager and eat copious amounts of Cool Whip. That's all I got for you.
Right.
Because I feel bad for the cleanup in that toilet.
I was going to say, I'm sure there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that didn't make it into the film concerning that.
Yeah, definitely. But thanks again for all coming out tonight, guys.
Yes,
Definitely appreciate it.
We very carefully covered the Cold Whip logo with duct tape.
Very good.
Well,
Very
it
good.
wasn't, it was packing tape.
Oh, packing tape. Okay.
We've got a lot of people that have supported us through these 6 films. I just want to give a shout out to the Phantom of the Videoscope. He's written up our last 3 movies and given us 3 out of 4 stars each time, and it's just an honor.
You know what? Us surrealists, we got to stick together, don't we?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. We've been blessed.
Yeah. So I wanted to know. This is another question I had. Were you all able to wrap your brain around what really was going on in the movie?
I have no idea what happened.
I love it. So it's like Big Lebowski. Each viewing you get another piece of.
About 60% of all the filmmaking.
It took me till the 7th time watching it till I got it.
Was that while you were drunk or not drunk?
No, not drunk.
Oh my gosh. So you're spouting all this cosmic wisdom, and you pretty much didn't know what you were saying.
If the lines are parallel.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are just a barrel of monkeys. Thank you so much for coming out and being a part of this.
Thank you.
I also recorded this. I'm recording it on my podcast.
Oh, wow.
Called Inspirado Projecto. So once that link is up, it'll go up onto the KaPow Facebook page. You can pass that link around.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming out.
Who knows? Maybe we'll see you next year because we'll put our next in.
Please do that.
I want to see the movie. It's the
House in the Middle of Nowhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got me with no CGI, so.
I'm definitely.
With any luck, I won't die in this one. Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, audience.
Thank you, one and all, for coming out to KaPow. Thank you guys so much for bringing in your films. How many of the filmmakers are in the audience? Why don't you come on down here? I'm going to ask you guys some questions about these masterpieces we've seen on the screen today. There you go. You guys can pass this around. Okay, so sir, introduce, let everybody know what your name is and which one you worked on.
Okay, what time is it right now? Oh, sorry.
Do you have a statement that you're going to read from somebody?
No, I haven't. Yeah, my name's Rajin Sharma. I wrote and directed the Inferno monologue Lucifer's Challenge. Just carry on.
Well, what inspired you to make that?
Well, you know, it's funny because the film itself wasn't really supposed to be anything other than a concept piece. It was supposed to be a proof of concept, put it out there on Indiegogo or GoFundMe just for a bigger project I was looking to do. But the problem was that once I finished it, I just lost the passion to actually make the shorter version of what I was going to make. But, you know, my actress who you just saw on screen, absolute sweetheart and really hard worker. She just said, you know what, we've put the time and effort to do this. Why don't you just release it out there anyway? It was like, okay, fine. And I was kind of adamant, but I was like, yeah, okay, fine, I'll do it. Just get it out there. Managed to get it to 3 festivals, and when I got the email for this, I was like, sorry, what? Hold on, that film got into KaPow? I was like, what? I couldn't believe it, but no, completely over the moon. But in terms of the inspiration for the whole thing, a few years ago I just read The Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri and John Milton's Paradise Lost, and it was just really interesting period for me. It was just like, well, what is it to be human? What are our concepts in terms of just faith and religion and all sorts of other stuff, but just be creative with it because. I mean, I don't want to get too religious or anything, but I don't think most people are very literal in terms of their beliefs. I think maybe the most fundamental people probably are. Not that there's. I'm not a politician, so I'm not going to say anything. But it was just something I just wrote and just got out there and thought, you know what, I could probably make this into a big thing. But it just turned out okay as it was.
Well, I like to think it's pretty important that if you put the effort into creating a project, you might as well allow other people to see that, right? It's not going to do any good hiding it in a vault someplace.
Yeah.
Because now you're offering all these people to be, inspired by this. Maybe they're going to, see some Shakespearean monologue and they decided they want to do something similar. I mean, especially when you shoot in one location, there's a lot of creativity that can happen in just one location.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm part of the mindset and part of the belief that, the limitations you have actually make you more creative, and being able to just use those limitations instead of just a blanket of just money or resources, I think it does help you, because if you are given everything, I think you get kind of lazy with that. And by the way, I don't really have an option of having like £20 million to play with anyway. I'm not rich in any shape or form. It's actually cost me a lot of money to be here today. But I think
you're creatively rich.
Yeah, well that's it. No, you're right though. Just being creatively rich. I like that one still. But yeah, I think it's more important to tell a good story within the frame lines rather than what visual effects you use or what camera you're using. I think a lot of people, especially indie filmmakers, we get obsessed with that. But I think more than anything, it's just telling the story. You know?
That's very true. Can you hand that microphone over to this young man right here? Sir, introduce yourself and what project you worked on.
I'm Yoni Ron. I wrote and directed Vanessa Atalanta. So it was the second film.
That was cool, man. That was really cool. I like the fact it was black and white and you added some animation to it.
Thank you. Yeah.
That was really cool. Do you know those children, or you were like, hey, want to be in a movie? Want to be in a movie?
Actually, we casted it.
You casted them?
Yeah, we casted it.
They had a really good rapport with each other.
Yeah, we worked with them a lot. Actually, with Agani, who's also Vanessa, and also we worked with the kid actors a lot.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
What now? Do you get permits for something like that, or are they just kind enough to just kind of let you shoot around in those areas?
You need permits. I'm not saying that we got them, but yeah, you need.
I always consider that a success story when a guerrilla filmmaker can get away with it.
Well, I mean, I had a lot of people that owed me favors there, and basically knew the rules well enough to bend them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know, in New York, you know, you have the 3 points on the ground or whatever. So every city has its limitations that you know how to weasel yourself through.
Where was that shot? Where was it
In
shot?
Rome.
Oh, it was shot in Rome.
Yeah.
Is that where you're from? Did you fly out from Rome?
No, I'm from Israel, but I live here now. Yeah.
So how long did that take for you to shoot that?
We shot that in 3 days. 3 days? 2 days.
Yes, but we worked 3 months.
You worked 3 months on rehearsals and stuff?
Yeah.
Getting the kids learning their lines?
Yeah, exactly. That was hard. We had to really...
What do you do with the little kids getting to learn their lines? You just put it into a tape recorder and you go, okay, just listen to this, repeat after this?
Actually, we had, first of all, you have to work with the parents because you need to gain the trust of the parents before.
Mm-hmm.
And we had, not really risque stuff in the film, but the whole story of it is, a bit...
Well, just stealing, kids stealing stuff.
Yeah,
that's probably why I didn't put it in the family-friendly block,
Right.
because I didn't want to inspire little kids. However, that would have been a great lesson. My friend Nicole was just telling me, she's like, in those countries, that's kind of what happens. That's kind of what happens. Those kids are like, well, we're hungry, and let's, we're a little superhero team now. We got to go get some food.
So I lived in Italy for a while, and for me, what was crazy was going into Rome. You first go kind of through the slums, and you see how maybe, everyone always sees Rome as like the marble and gold.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to kind of portray something a bit different from that area. So really, if you come in and you go coming from like the periferia or something, and you see, a lot of how people really live there. So I really wanted to portray that. Yeah.
It was great, and plus I like the metaphor of the whole thing.
Thank you.
There she is. She grows up. Now she's a housekeeper,
exactly.
Right? And here comes the centaurs.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really cool, man. It was really cool. It was very very philosophical.
Thank you. Yeah, the idea is to have this as volume 1 and then continue it as volume 2 and 3, because the real Atalanta myth, she has a few chapters in her life that would be great to portray, and maybe in different realities or different places to show how the continuation throughout the centuries.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for coming out. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Thank you guys for coming out and giving them support. And then you can take some photos over here. I'm going to set up the lights for you guys.
For sure.
Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I really love the film.
Thank you so much. Oh, here, I'll take that.